Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this, our ninth episode of Marching Forward with Flow. I really don't know where the time has gone. I started doing these Marching Forward with Flow episodes the beginning of this year in January, and we have already hit the September mark. Can you believe it? The year is just flying by. As always, I am your host, Andrea Pratt-Smith, joining you from the beautiful country of the Bahamas, where the sun is shining, the seagulls are making so much noise, it's just calling me to the beach. But today is not a beach day for me. It's a work day, so I'll get to the beach later on this weekend. For those of you who are experience extreme heat and are landlocked, I do apologize for flaunting that I'm in the Bahamas, but I love where I live. It's a beautiful country, and our beaches are the best in the world. And I'm so pleased to have as our guest for today, joining us from, I'm hoping Texas isn't too hot, but joining us from Dallas in the Fort Worth, Texas area is Devon Morris. So, Devon, welcome to Marching Forward with Flow. How are you today?
I am amazing. I really appreciate you having me on. But I'm going to say this: forget your weather situation. I'm really upset that you didn't invite me on your podcast back in January. So I'm not happy about this situation.
Well, you can always be a return guest whenever you want because the door is open. You're always welcome to return whenever you want. But I'm hoping that you're enjoying great weather in Dallas and it's not too humid.
No, it's actually pretty good in Dallas today. It's not too hot. It's probably about 86 degrees, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
Um, so I'll get out there at some point.
Okay, well, I am glad to have you with us. I wanted to start by just asking you about the origin of the Scrum Preacher. I saw where you used this term on your LinkedIn profile. Can you share the story behind this name and what it signifies in your work as an agile coach and a practitioner?
Well, I would say to you that probably the Scrum Preacher thing came from when I started training. So, for those that do not know, I'm the first Black Certified Scrum Trainer via the Scrum Alliance on the planet Earth. And I received the certification in about 2013. And one of the things that was really important for me was to find a way to make myself different versus the other trainers. Now, I pull on a history of, obviously Black Baptist preachers in my family. My great 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 grandfather created a church right after he got out of slavery. So once I started training, what came out of me was that Baptist on the pulpit way of teaching Scrum. And so I would do, very animated things like run across the room or, jump up and down, or those classic things you see that some very animated preachers would do.
Hmm.
And so the Scrum Preacher came from that, along with being authentic about my experiences. I've been around Scrum since 2005. I did my first Scrum project at a little company called State Farm. And for me, having that real world experience and spending years, just years, going into organizations, helping them to change, and then being able to take those lessons into training, but also trying to find a way to compete and find a niche. That's pretty much the culmination, or at least the crucible that kind of built that Scrum Preacher image. I still claim it. I still use it to this day. And even in trainings today, I may not run across the room, in a virtual environment, but people will always see the passion. They will always see, that same thing come out of me, that preacher part, that Baptist part, that trying to, get the masses to go in the right direction is what you will classically see. So I get it, from honest means, but really just trying to find a way to make myself different and pull on what my culture has actually given me. So that's really a big part of it, Andrea.
Yeah. I love how you said you're trying to be different and you use the term authentic in your training.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
authenticity seems to be a major theme with you, especially when you have your podcast. So what does authenticity in leadership look like for you? And how can agile leaders cultivate it in their teams?
Well, let me start off in a very simple place. The first thing I would tell everybody is the only person that can truly be you is you.
You. Yep.
You really can't be anybody else. So you might as well bring the authentic you to every aspect of what you do. And one of the other things that's really happening for me, which in probably 2 years will be really different, is I'm in class, or I decided to pursue a PhD in industrial organizational psychology, with a specialization in evidence-based coaching. And so obviously I've looked at literature that has talked about authenticity. And there are pretty much three styles of leadership that we expect scrum masters to bring, that we expect leaders to be, for people who do knowledge work. Knowledge workers, like those software developers, people who use their brain to work every day.
Yeah.
And we find that the combination of authentic leadership, transformative leadership, so transformation leadership, servant leadership, amongst some other things, are things that actually get people moving in the right direction, get people to be more effective as individuals and as they work as a team trying to achieve things. Now, teams are really interesting because if you're a leader, authentic leaders actually get teams that are more dedicated to what they're doing, but also achieve more in terms of the activities, the on the ground things that happen. Now, we always will say it depends when we start talking about team effectiveness, but a big determinator of team effectiveness, especially teams that rely on each other to get things done, which means they have to use some level of teamwork. They need authentic leaders that can guide them in the right direction and to help them actually achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve. So, authentic leadership is extremely important in the work that we do, especially knowledge workers.
Yeah, I love how you say that because one of the big things about myself is that I pride myself on authenticity and being an authentic leader. And we have a saying in the Bahamas: "What you see is what you get." So it's
Yeah.
like I do exactly what I say I'm going to do. And we have this thing about, oh, because we live on the island, everything is relaxed time and everyone is always late.
Hmm.
And I so hate that. I really do, because I'm like, that's not me. I value people's time. And you show your worth when you say something, you're going to be somewhere or do something, and you actually do it when and how you said you're going to do it. And that's all a part, to me, that's all a part of being authentic. And
Hmm.
I am challenged by not finding many persons like myself. I'm going to be
Hmm.
honest. It's very challenging for me, but I'm always reminded that I need to just focus on having great work ethics within myself and try to encourage others to do the same and not to conform to their habits. So all of
This is
that
true.
is being true to yourself and being authentic in who you are. And I think a big part of it also is about community building and having that
Hmm.
tribe and having like-minded persons and being a part of a community that supports you in who you are authentically. So I know sometimes on your podcast you would speak about the importance of community and agile. So how do you see community contributing to the success of agile practices, and what role should a leader play in fostering this?
A leader should encourage it. I mean, completely encourage it. One of the things that has happened, um, over my career, and it has happened consistently over my career, has been every time when I go in to do a major transformation inside of the organization, we create a community.
Mhm.
That community leads to shared learning. The one thing that happens for a lot of scrum masters, for a lot of agilists, agile coaches, people who do the type of work that we do, is we're there typically alone. We're there with not a lot of people that are going through the experiences that we are having. And so having a group of people to go to that you can share those experiences allows us to grow collectively and learn collectively. It's one thing for the team to learn, but it's another thing when you learn from your peers. And so you want to always build communities where you can actually facilitate that growth, facilitate even the pain that happens, right?
Mhm.
Because when something like if we're working together, Andrea, and you have a really tough time, it's going to help both of us if I be a person who you can lean on during that tough time. We may not have an answer for it. We may not be able to solve the problem. It may be extremely frustrating, something that can't be solved in the organization, but we can help each other get through that tough time, even though may not be the perfect resolution for it. Right. And
Yeah.
so as we continue to go in these organizations, having communities that can help you learn how to build the best practices, because different agile practices work differently with different teams. Every team that you put together is not made up the same. You're a Kanban trainer. I'm a Scrum trainer. We wouldn't recommend that Scrum and Kanban trainers operate exactly the same because they're working to solve different types of problems.
Yeah.
And based on the problem that they're solving, how much people need to collaborate, how the teams need to rely on each other, how much they need to cooperate, basic capabilities, all those things impact us. But as scrum masters, as agile coaches, we don't get an opportunity to have those conversations with each other, to learn from each other. So actually having a community is extremely important. And I don't know, I've been inside of organizations where there was no community, where top, I was either the top coach or I didn't have any other coaches there. And it's a really lonely place. You have to find community outside of the organization, which is cool, but it's not the same because I can go to an Agile Alliance conference. I can go to a Scrum gathering, but they don't know my day to day. And yes, I'm cool with those people. We're great. We have good times while we're there at the conference. But when
Yeah.
I have this specific problem that's happening to me in this particular organization, boy, it's nice to have somebody to go to and be like, man, I'm just having a tough day. Or did you run into this problem? Or you solved this problem by doing X, Y, and Z, and this is a person that you need to talk to. That little shared learning helps us to
Mhm.
grow exponentially. So having community, I mean, just right now, we are having this conversation because we are building a community.
Yes, we are. Right.
And that right there is going to help us. So 10 years from now, we will have done different things. We will have to help each other in different ways. And there will be a contingent of people that's 10 years, 20 years younger than us that wants to get our knowledge, and we will pull them into the community to help make them better, be able to better take care of their families, be able to do things better. I mean, I had a coach that I contacted today that had a big life problem. Now we don't have anything. We don't talk to each other on a regular basis. But I'm just like, look, brother, I need to have a conversation with you. And instead of texting you, I'm going to call to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things that happen when you build a community. It's not always about the bad times. It's not always about the good times. It's just about the times that we spend together. So I think community building is a major aspect of what we need to do moving forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we get through this thing without it, right?
I
Um,
know. I know, but I don't know if you're aware, but I'm the founder of the first and only community of practice in the Bahamas for Agilists and project managers. It's the Bahamas Agile and Project Management Community. We just celebrated our third year this year, and we're approaching, like we're very close to approaching a milestone of 1,000
mhm,
followers on Meetup. And one of the main components of this community is that
mhm,
we try to not only share knowledge, but we try to empower our followers and members in
mhm,
whatever dimension of the professional or personal life that they're trying to accomplish. So it's not just about us sharing knowledge about, agile and project management. We actually care about each other. We talk to each other on a regular basis, and we have opportunities for career development. So we share when we know about job opportunities, we share about training. So I think, you stressed a lot about the community building that's important inside of an organization. But I think
mhm.
it's also worthy to talk about the community
Yep.
building that happens outside of the organization through
Yes.
community of practice like BAPMC and others that try to uplift and empower persons. And I think one of the major benefits of some of the community of practices that I'm involved in is that they're centered around Black women. in project management because we are so few and far between. And sometimes we need that person who has been in the trenches for a while to provide us with those insights that we would only get from experience, especially when it comes to gender gap and that pay gap between the genders, and the fact
Mm-hmm.
that, there's not a lot of representation, there's not a lot of persons that look like us, and women tend to be the ones that are underpaid the most, undervalued, and really not celebrated for what they bring to the team. So I think, you as an ally, and I know that you really champion, for the rights of women and, equity, equality, and all that good stuff.
Yes.
And it's always good to have those allies. But I think, we need to stop being quiet about situations. We need to talk more about what we're experiencing so that it could be a
Yeah.
lesson learned for somebody else.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I will say to you, I definitely there's definitely gaps. There's definitely equity problems. That goes without saying. It's been proven and shown time. Just it's innumerable.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say to you first and foremost, thank you for what you do. Right? To say that you have 1,000 people inside of a meetup, that's a major accomplishment. So hats off to you first and foremost, because you are establishing community and you're bringing people together. Now, I also will say this to you as well.
Hmm.
The thing that we have to understand is that we have a big problem. And I'm going in a different place, but I have to because you brought up Black women.
Yeah.
There's less of us than there is of y'all in these professional spaces. It just is. Now, we could talk about the reasons why that is. I'm not even going to go there with that.
Yeah.
But if you go and you take a look at where we are, when we get into management positions, and I'm speaking about the United States of America because I think it's a reflection of every place else on the planet to some degree. In
Hmm.
Fortune 500 companies, we are probably 8% of management. 8%. Now, in the United States, we're 12 to 13% of the population. That number kind of jumps up as we get to other mid-level manager positions.
Hmm.
But the moment we start hitting executive level positions, that goes down to 4% in Fortune 500 companies. And today, there is less than 1% CEOs of Fortune 500 companies that are melanin based, right? That are Black.
Hmm.
Okay. That number was 8 probably 2 years ago, and it's gotten smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. So our numbers go down. So it goes back to the glass ceiling, but
Hmm.
this goes to a different place. There are people that I know, Black women that I know, that are being discriminated against constantly, right?
Yeah.
And the only way for us to really solve a lot of these problems is to build our own institutions. I'm not saying go tear the government down. I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything like that, right? But what is historically true is that people tend to hire people that look like them.
Exactly.
People tend to promote people that look like and have experiences similar to them. So if you constantly go into spaces where people don't have experiences and don't look like you are less likely to make it to the higher echelons of that organization. Otherwise, you can build your own. So when I say to you, I'm in the battle, I'm not just an ally, I'm there as foundation to make sure that Black women make it to wherever Black women are going to make it to. But we don't make it there without building our own stuff, right? So when you say you built a community, I love it. I absolutely love it because that means that I guarantee you in the community that you have built, you will promote people being in volunteer positions, in different types of positions in your organization that look like us, not just somebody else that look like us. And that experience is a great thing. So hats off to you once again. I love it. Even though I'm going to say, you've never invited me to join the group. I don't know if I like you today. I don't know if I like you today,
I
but
will.
I'm
I
gonna
will
just
send
go
you
ahead
the
and
link.
clap. I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna clap because hats off to you. But I don't know if I like you today. I just want you to know that if we was on video, you would see me pointing my finger at
No,
you,
no.
pointing one finger at you like this is a old problem. Matter of fact, I'm
I'm
pointing my
so
finger
glad
right
this is
now.
audio. I'm so glad this is.
You better be glad because I be having the whole fit. I'm over here bouncing up and down because how big of a problem this is. I figured that you don't like me, and I'm just gonna hold it at that. All right.
No, I am so looking forward to meeting you in person next month. So let's talk about SMAD. We're both speaking at the Scrum Masters of African Descent Conference, and you're actually the keynote speaker. So I'm so looking forward to meeting you. You could actually spank me when you see me for not inviting you to my community of practice, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
can you give us a sneak peek of your message or some of the key themes you'll be sharing with the audience at SMAD during your keynote?
It's one of those things where I want to give everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about the future. We're talking about agile practices, right? We're talking about resilience. We're talking about those things. So I will focus on that. But just a simple example here. There's a lot of us Scrum Masters, Black folk across the planet,
Yeah.
but we are so far behind on technology that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We have a future that is leaving us behind and a place where the world is going that we are not preparing ourselves for appropriately. If you just think there's a very low percentage of us in IT, period.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
IT, right? And so that means that the numbers are even less as we go further or we get into deeper or higher level positions. So what I will be talking about is the future of this role and where we need to go if we want to grow and continue to do great things in this space. Probably 2 years ago, I found an AI Scrum Master. Okay. And the question becomes, how does that impact your job? How does that impact the future? Will there be a need for Scrum Masters 10 years from now? Especially if a lot of the things that Scrum Masters do could easily go away, right? I can easily go and right now write an entire transformation just through prompt engineering. I can
Yeah.
write out an entire transformation. I can write out a product backlog using user stories with the right prompts. I can interview myself, right? I can conduct an interview via AI. Like I can do that today.
Yes.
But the question becomes, where are teams going? What do you need to do as a scrum master to prepare yourself for that future? That future where things are constantly changing and changing at such a rapid pace that is almost unbelievable. Those are the things that we will be talking about. And hopefully, hopefully we're gonna have a ton of fun doing it. Because I'm gonna be really real. Because when I became a scrum master, it I didn't run into these kind of problems. I did not. It's a different world out there today. And are we going to be prepared for it? Hopefully no. Everybody that comes and see me, they're going to be prepared for it. I don't know about the people that don't come see me. So if you want to be prepared for this future that's going to happen, you should come join me. I'll be the keynote speaker for the Smash conference. It's going to be October 25th through the 27th, if I'm correct, right?
You're correct.
So what is your topic on? That's what I want to know. Because maybe I need to show up for your topic too.
My topic, it's something I haven't presented before, and I'm actually just trying to get it together. So it's AI Guardians of Heritage, preserving African diaspora history through technology.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a big name.
Yes, yes. So I'm trying to showcase a project that I'm working on, a platform that we're building called Full Circle, that
Hmm.
uses a person's DNA to trace their roots back to the African diaspora, and it gives them a holistic experience on the platform. So it gives them a trace of not only their ancestors, but also a preview of what the history would have looked like back then when their ancestors were around, and also what it looks like to now. And it has some community building components to it. So it's
Hmm.
connecting the African diaspora through technology and using AI.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I'm a genealogist by
Mm-hmm.
trade as well. I've been doing genealogy work since I was like 8 years old. I'm 50 now, so it's like 40 years in. I've done all the major DNA platforms have my DNA.
Yes.
I actually met the descendants of one of the slave owners that owned my family in Virginia. So I go real deep in it, right? So it's just one of those things. I went to two family reunions this year. So let me know how that goes because I may participate with your uninviting me to things self. That's the whole
I
problem.
will
I'm
definitely
always
be calling on
uninvited.
you.
Like you have great stuff going on, and you be like, you know who I'm not going to invite? I'm not going to invite Devon. He's a tragedy. That's
No,
okay.
that's definitely not the case. I am going to invite you to everything from now on. I'm sending you like 10 links after this call ends. So,
You know what? Let me tell you something. Now listen. Listen to this.
uh-huh.
Hutty, hutty, hutty. That's me crying. And for those out there, if you don't know what I'm referring to, you got a whole problem. Anyway, we all good. So yeah, so I will be moving toward the future resilience. When it comes to Scrum Masters, will be what my focus is, and I think the message will definitely resonate because of how much change we're currently going through.
Yes, I think so too. And I'm looking forward to your keynote presentation. If you want to skip my presentation, that's fine because I don't want you to be scrutinizing me with a fine tooth comb because
I would not do that.
I could
I would
feel
only
that
give
coming on.
constructive criticism. I would only give constructive criticism, and the truth of the matter is, you know way more than me. So I'm gonna sit back and learn.
Oh, jeez. We'll see how it goes, but it's the conference is going to be held in Raleigh, North Carolina, October 25th through 27th. You can find links for it on both Devon and my LinkedIn page. We'll also send out more communications in the coming days about the Scrum Masters of African Descent conference. If
Hmm.
you need additional information about hotel accommodations or anything like that, you can send me a DM. But Devon, it was so great to have you. We have a few minutes left, and I normally send out an invitation to anyone in our listening audience who would like to come on stage to either give a comment or ask a question. So if anyone wants to come on stage, you can just do a reaction with a raised hand, and I will allow you to speak for the remaining few minutes that we have. You can ask a question.
Well, you know, I'm uptight because I feel like you try to get rid of me. I thought we had a whole hour, but I remember you said it was a half hour, so that's on me. That's on me for not listening. But the idea is that you should make this more time. Half hour is not enough time.
I know it's not enough time, but it's just an experiment for me to get familiar with the LinkedIn audio lives and having guest speakers on and
Oh, so now what you said is you treat me like it's an experiment, and you just you gonna go ahead and go back to the beach. You've already experimented on me. You gonna kick me to the side, and now you're about to go back to the beach. I understand. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it.
well, these aren't our beach season. We're in hurricane season, so this is not a penciled in kind of thing. You've actually been penned in.
Okay, all right, all right. I'm glad you pinned me in. I'm glad you made a little time for me. I appreciate that.
Yes, so nobody in the audience raised their hand. So Devon, if you want to give us some closing remarks, you're welcome to.
Well, I would say to you all, one of the things that's important for me is to see your faces, right? I don't think that there's enough of us in this community. Um, I'm going to say black women stand up, black men stand up. There's definitely not enough of us in this community, and the only people that's going to change that is us.
It's
That's
us.
it.
Mm-hmm. I
So
agree.
we need to start taking the steps to support each other and find ways to help build this community. I challenge you to, not just as you go up in your career, find a couple people to pull up with you, right? So lift as you climb, right? If you lift as you climb and you just freely give people some knowledge, I'm not saying that you let people leech off of you. I don't think you should let people leech off of you, right? One of the biggest fears right now that I have is that Scrum is becoming a commodity, which means that it's just getting to a place where everybody's going to get paid lower and lower salaries over time. It's just naturally going to happen. So the question becomes, how can you change up your skills to make sure that you make the kind of money that you need to make to build whatever legacy that you're trying to build?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can eat every day, take care of your family, and everything else. I don't think this thing is going away. I think there's a lot of great space for great people, great minds that should be here, that should be offering those comments, right? And so I'd say to you, get yourself involved, help us build this community. Because even if you're brand new in this and you've been in this thing for 6 months, there's somebody in there that's newer than you that would love to hear your story, would love to hear about you, and would love to grow from just understanding who you are and how you got there. So I encourage you to get involved. I encourage you to show up for the SMAG conference. I encourage you to make sure that you go to the Bahamas to join the Agile and Project Management meetup that I'm not invited to. I encourage you to do all those things. And then on the other note, make sure you take care of yourself in this. Make
Yeah.
sure you take care of yourself in this. Your mental health, who you are as a person. The world is changing in many ways, and we need to take advantage of that and move forward. So, other than that, man, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love all of y'all that I see, and you'll see me around at some point. We'll get the first meet Andrea in October. I'm gonna say you owe me dinner,
Okay.
but you don't owe me dinner. You don't owe me dinner. We're
That's fine. That's fine. We'll go to dinner when we get to Raleigh. Not a problem at all. Yes, thank you so much, Devon, for being my special guest today. I thoroughly enjoyed our time together. As you said, it was way too short. We need to do this again. And I look forward to our connections coming up in the future and whatever endeavors
hmm
we can co-collaborate on. I'm excited about it. And I will share all of the information with you about the Bahamas Agile and Project Management community. We meet virtually, so you don't have to worry about coming to the Bahamas. We meet virtually.
Oh, so I don't get an invite to the Bahamas now. Okay, that's another place I don't get to come to. I really appreciate it. Thank you so
No,
much
I'm
for
not
kicking
saying
me to the
that.
curb once again.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying we meet virtually and you're welcome to come to the Bahamas at any time. I live in the capital, Nassau, and I will love to be your hostess whenever you visit. Just don't come by cruise because I don't believe you get the full experience by cruise ship. Come by
Nah.
plane and spend a few days.
Okay. All right then. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.